Hey, what's up guys, Arva here, and welcome back to a brand new video here today, and we have got a rather different one, because today we are driving as NICO HULKENBERG in the Racing Point car in 2020 for this last question mark challenge here today for the British Grand Prix. Of course, it's the real-life British Grand Prix this weekend, the first of two races held at Silverstone, but obviously, as you may have seen if you're not living under a rock, Sergio Perez unfortunately got tested positive for COVID-19, so first of all, wishing him a speedy recovery. He's got no symptoms, so hopefully he just kind of gets over and is able to potentially maybe race for the second race, or depending on how long the isolation period is. But anyway, because he tested positive, he was not allowed to race this weekend for Racing Point, so Racing Point had to cobble together something, and they managed to get in under 24 hours it was, when Checo tested for COVID, NICO HULKENBERG to drive in their car. So today, we're here on F1 2020, driving as number 27 on the Racing Point car in a black carbon fibre helmet, NICO HULKENBERG, for the last question mark challenge here today for the British Grand Prix. As we go to 5 red lights, and we are underway for 13 laps of Silverstone. If you're unfamiliar with the challenge, we do a 25% race here, short and sweet, but it means I have to get the moves done as we try and go around the outside at turn 1. Was quite tough to actually pick a line there, because I was getting boxed in by the Williams cars. But now into Village, up into P15, down the inside, the AlphaTauri is going side by side with the Alfa Romeo up ahead, still trying to go round the outside of the AlphaTauri on the right hand side, trying to get the power down very hard this portion of the circuit. AI are so good on traction there, but we get it done with some ERS use, and we're up into P14, so a pretty decent start. I will say a caveat to this is, obviously in game right now, the Racing Point is definitely slower than it should be relative to the other midfield cars, so I'm not too sure what our performance is going to be like. You know, you can see my teammate Lance Stroll, I think he's just up the road there after this Alfa Romeo, so I don't think we can maybe get high points, but let's see how this just goes, and maybe we can try and use some DRS to our aid as we power past Alfa Romeo. Obviously Ferrari engine powered car in the game, it's actually pretty decent, unlike in real life, so he actually puts up a decent fight. That's a Giovinazzi, I think that was, as we get around the outside up into P13, but then you can see there is our teammate Lance Stroll stuck behind the AlphaTauri and Renault. So at the moment, just kind of sitting back and kind of biding our time basically on lap number 2, but trying to get a good launch off here using overtake mode on the exit. No DRS activated quite yet on lap number 3, but 2 personal best lap times. They're flying at the moment. We're gaining even more time there down this stretch in towards Stowe, and then as we go down to the crest into the chicane, looking to maybe make a pass there as Stroll's real slow off that corner. We're going to make a big old dive down the inside there, let the car roll through, get on the curb. We're going to be neck and neck as we go through the last 2 corners then of the circuit. Still side by side, Stroll keeps it in there, fair play to him, but we just have the we don't blink first basically on the exit. We keep our foot in, and we're able to keep it going up into P12 now, so 2 places off points. But this is what I'm saying, you would kind of think that Stroll kind of should be up in the maybe top 6, 5, and by now I would have hoped to have been in the top 10 if the Racing Point performance was accurate to real life. But of course, with these videos, if you guys have watched them on my channel before, there's this weird dynamic that I'm recording this commentary and this race before qualifying's happened, but I'm posting it after qualifying of the real race weekend, so you guys will know where these guys have qualified. Obviously, so far from what I can see from practice, looks like HULKENBERG's about 0.3 off Stroll, so he's done a really good job of actually, you know, getting up to speed as we now go for a very audacious little pass there, 3 wide. We were so close behind the AlphaTauri there, almost got kind of spun out and caught up on the rear wing and gearbox of that car, but we just dodged them and were able to make 2 passes in 1 go up into P10. Now this is where it gets tricky though, because in game the car maybe in the hands of me at least, because around Silverstone the AI on this game are very strong, so I don't know if we have the pace to close up. We're just going to have to see how it goes basically as we go on towards the first round of pit stops. But as I was saying, yeah, this one, you know, being posted after quali, but from what I can tell, looks like HULKENBERG's done a decent job to get up to speed. Remember, he's not driven the car, an F1 car, you know, for 8 months, and no matter how, you know, the pundits say it's like riding a bike and whatnot, and you're still, you know, trained up and he's obviously physically ready, it's still, you know, a challenge to just jump in straight in. Little bit of simulator time he did, I think, on Thursday evening, I think it was reported or whatever, or in the morning on Friday, and then just jumped in the car. But to be quite close to Stroll, he's done a decent job to get up to speed. And in terms of where he could finish, obviously I know a lot of people are, you know, maybe, you know, going for that very fairy tale, you know, is this the moment where HULKENBERG finally gets his podium in Formula 1 in this one-off kind of Racing Point race? But I don't know, I think that's a bit too far-fetched, but you never know. People can dream in F1, of course. But anyway, back to our race. Lap number 6 then. The gap looking quite the same same to the McLaren up ahead, so unfortunately we're kind of equalised with the midfield behind us, but then yellow flags behind us. You can see on the minimap there, I think it's Alfa Romeo going slowly in village section, more yellow flags, double yellows in fact behind us. As we come through in towards Brooklands and to the field, we're going to get the full course safety car is going to be called up here, so that is going to completely change our race now, because now we maybe have a chance here of closing up and fighting, because the issue was I wasn't closing up to the cars, but when we're within DRS, I think we could have a decent shot. Obviously, the Mercedes engine in the back of our car is going to work well against those guys ahead of us, but that is why there was double yellow and then the safety car, because Raikkonen had to park it up in a very awkward spot there on the runoff, so I guess, you know, that's probably a good reason to call it. So now we come in for the pit stop, lap number 6. We were going to come in anyway pretty soon, I think, on lap 6 or 7, but everyone is in. Look at the minimap. No one has continued out, so everyone's double stacking. Obviously, it is a 25% race, so maybe more of a reason to double stack, but you're about to see, look at this. Massive issues for all the guys. Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes, all their drivers are being held because they're getting stuck in the double stack because the cars ahead of them are double stacking as well. And so it means we get out, beautiful pit stop, great time, and we get out ahead of the Red Bull, and we're in P3 now. Lando Norris is out in first place, exiting the pit lane. Second place, Ricciardo, and we're here in third place in the podium position as Nico Hulkenberg right now on lap number 7. The Red Bull of Verstappen right behind me, but the top guys all got screwed over in those pit stops. So that is actually insane. So it's all turned up. It's all turned around. There you go. Confirmation. You can see Lando's helmet there in P1. Ricciardo second. Us in third. I mean, it's pretty... I mean, this is, you know, gone way past being realistic of a real British Grand Prix. But can you imagine the scenes if Lando, Ricciardo and Hulkenberg were anywhere near the podium or, you know, in tomorrow's race, or, you know, just this entire race weekend, and then maybe also the next one, obviously, as we have 2 Grand Prix at Silverstone. But as we go on through the safety car period, my DRS fails. Thankfully, it didn't fail like it did in my team career. Remember, it's stuck open. It's stuck closed. So that'll be quite annoying because obviously we've got a few laps to go still in this race. So I might be susceptible to being overtaken even by the Red Bull behind me, even though it's a little bit poorer in a straight line. Without a DRS, that Red Bull's going to fly past me maybe. And also, I wanted to see if we could maybe go higher than P3 and try and get Ricciardo maybe, because in theory we should be faster than the Renault. In game, the McLaren is pretty much level pegging, I would say, almost with a Racing Point on the base cars. But the Renault we should be able to get. But we're here on the restart using plenty of DRS, but no DRS available for us until it gets fixed. Usually it does take at least maybe 3 laps to fix itself, so maybe there's some hope that we'll get it just by the end, or like on the last lap to maybe get Ricciardo. But right now we don't take that right-hander pretty decently as we go over the curb, so really offset the car and go a little bit slow. Then on the exit here, the AI are so good, and so Verstappen is right up my chuff, and we're going to have to use plenty of ERS to try and stay ahead. We're looking behind. Verstappen's gaining quite a lot there, and we have to just kind of place the car very nicely in the middle. But Verstappen gets a run on the outside there. We go defensive, try and scrub him off wide. He's still trying it on the left as we use more ERS on the exit and just about remain ahead, but he's still going to be there. Asking the question to the insider cops, maybe he has a little look, but we're just going to hold it through, and thankfully he doesn't do anything stupid and dive down the inside. But as we move through on towards lap number 11, Ricciardo slowing up a little bit there. We've got a very tricky task at the moment though, because the engine temps are going up, you can see on the right hand side, so we need to lower the fuel down to lean to save the engine temps. But I kind of need the rich mix to help me, because without DRS I'm kind of getting left for dry on the straights as well. And you know, the ERS is helping out, but I also need to save some ERS, because if the DRS does come back, you know, within the next lap, then we're going to need that ERS to kind of have a double whammy to try and actually overtake the Renault. So trying my hardest to deal with the situation at the moment here, but struggling a little bit, so praying the DRS comes back any moment now, and then we can go and attack the Renault at least, and maybe not the McLaren. Like I said, the McLaren's quite equalised with the Racing Point car in the game, and also just trying to keep an eye on behind us, because look at the proximity arrow there. Verstappen is very much still in the mirrors, as well as, you know, pushed on right behind him is the Ferrari, I think, of Vettel, and then you've got Hamilton in the Mercedes car closing up now, so we might have a bit of a tasty last lap or two maybe if it goes quite hectic. But now there you can see on the right the rear wing went from orange to green on the heads-up display. So the DRS is back and activated. So now we can use DRS. We've got some ERS to use as well. So off that corner, launching it into Rich Mix, trying to gain some time. Not going to make any moves right now on this lap, but I think onto the next one now that we can actually fight and close up with DRS, we can try and plan something. So lap number 12, same place. At the moment, not looking like we're gaining too much again in a straight line here. Surprisingly with the Renault, that's because Ricciardo's looking to maybe try and do something on Norris, but through this corner, a little bit wide there on the exit, but using that to try and gain some speed. And now we go around the outside. Ricciardo goes very defensive. Surprisingly, he went very early and kind of basically hindered himself really by making his corner that tight on the inside there. So we just go around the outside, a long way round, and take a leaf out of Lando Norris's boot from F2, I think, when he made a move like there in his F2 days. But now we're, speaking of Lando Norris, chasing after him. It's the last lap of the Grand Prix. Could we do the unthinkable and get NICO HULKENBERG a first place at the British Grand Prix? I mean, this race has been hectic enough. Norris, myself, and Ricciardo in the top three. Bonkers race with the safety car changing everything and the pit stops. We have a little look on the inside of Stowe, but it's not going to work out. To be fair, it's a nicer story for Lando Norris to win the British Grand Prix. Could you imagine the scenes if this actually happened in real life? It would be absolutely insane. But Lando Norris wins it, but we come home in second place as NICO HULKENBERG in the Racing Point. Usually I say, can we predict things with this video for tomorrow's race? There's no way this is surely predicting anything, but it was a lot of fun nonetheless. If you guys did enjoy it, then be sure to hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're new around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content, and let me know your predictions for tomorrow's Grand Prix, and then you can come back and see how badly or how accurately you did in the comments below this video. If you're new around here, do get subscribed. I've been Arava. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of the day. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.